Okay, so last week when we took this test, we all seemed to struggle a bit with it, the quiz, sorry. So we're going to just review it today, and I'm just going to ask you some questions as we go to make sure that you understand the reason why each of these answers is the correct answer. Okay, first of all, which word is the noun in the following sentence? Before spring, the frost melts. So I need to first think of what a noun is. So a noun is a person, place, thing, or idea. Okay, so looking at that, before spring, the frost melts. Which of these do you think is a noun? Which of these things is a person, place, thing, or idea? Okay, so in this case, there are actually two nouns because we have spring, which is time, so that counts as an idea. And then we also have, frost, which counts as a thing, right? Because it's something that you can touch. So in this case, frost is the only one that we can actually select. So that is the right answer. Okay, fix the sentence. The creatures have fog and she are tall. So we only have to worry about what's going on in the brackets. So here we can see the creatures have fog and she are tall. So I know that she is a pronoun. It's a word that replaces a noun, replaces noun. And up here, we just talked about how a noun is a person, place, thing, or idea. So in order to make sure I have the right pronoun, I need to figure out what my antecedent is. What word is that pronoun replacing? The creatures have fog and she are tall. Well, it's probably going to be the only other noun that's in this sentence, which here is the creatures, right? Because they are the ones that we're talking about, the creatures. So they are the ones that I'm going to be replacing. Now, creatures ends with an S, which means that it's plural. There's more than one. So if I think back to my little grammar chart, like this. So we have first, second, and third, and then singular and plural. This would be I, we, you, she, they. Okay, so we know that it's third person because it's not, I'm not talking about myself here, and I'm not talking about you. So I'm talking about somebody else besides the person talking and the person being talked to. So this means that we are talking about third person. So then we need to figure out if it's singular or plural. Well, because we have this S, it means that it is plural. So what is the correct pronoun that we should have here? Right, it should be they. Okay, what kind of word is to fetch? So first of all, the thing that I want to look at is that it starts with the word to, which tells us that this is a verb. So right off the bat, we know that it's a verb. Fetch means to pick up something that's been thrown. Usually, like if you throw something for a dog, the dog will go over and fetch it, and they'll bring it back to you. So if you can picture a little dog. A very bad dog, sorry. So you can picture this little dog that's running after a stick that someone threw. Then we know that this is a verb because the dog is running. It's actually moving, so that makes it a verb. Okay, fix the sentence. She can't throw sticks well. Once again, we're only going to focus on what's going on in this little bracket. So she can't throw sticks well. I know that this apostrophe is here to show me that there are some letters missing. So are there actually any letters missing there? Well, if I think about can't, I know that it comes from cannot. So yes, we do technically get rid of this N, but we could also imagine that we're getting rid of this N and this O, right? Which means that it's C-A-N, which is this one. And then we got rid of the N and the O, so we're going to put the apostrophe there, can't. So your full thing should be, she can't throw sticks well. Which word is a pronoun? It looks like a sheep. So remember, a pronoun replaces a noun. Okay, so that being said, which one do you think is the pronoun? It. It looks like a sheep. In this case, we're probably talking about the creatures. Or I guess it means there's only one, so it's just creature. The creature looks like a sheep. It looks like a sheep. Okay, what does it mean to categorize? Categorize means to put things into categories. Which is a fancy word for groups. So if I'm categorizing something, I am putting things together based on similarities. Okay, what kind of word is rock? So a rock is this thing that you can find on the ground. And because it's something that I can actually come over, this is a really big rock apparently, and touch, that means that this is a thing. So if something is a person, place, or thing, it is a noun. Okay, which word doesn't belong? So this is an example of how you would use categorizing. So remember, we're putting things together based on similarities. So my things are tall, cold, tree, and foggy. 3 of these words are describing words. They are adjectives. One of them is a noun. So we need to find the odd one out, the one that's not similar. In this case, it would be the noun. So a person, place, thing, or idea. Okay, so it is tree because the rest of these we can use to describe things, right? There's a tall tree. It's a cold glass. The sky is foggy. Oops. What kind of word is this? She. So a she, if we come all the way back up here, we can see that this was one of our pronouns. It replaces a noun. It's a little word that replaces a noun. So this is a pronoun. Which word doesn't belong? Okay, so this is another example of categorizing. So spring, summer, frost, winter. 3 of these words are very similar. One of them has something different. So these 3 words are all seasons, while frost is different because it describes something that happens during the seasons. It describes a type of weather. Which of the following is a proper noun? She threw a stick to her dog, Anoixis. Okay, so a proper noun is a specific noun, and a noun is a person, place, thing, or idea. So we're looking for a specific person, place, thing, or idea. Okay, in this case, it is the name Anoixis. It's almost always going to be a name. Okay, proper noun equals a name. Okay, fix a sentence. Kavada care about the creature. So once again, we only need to look at what's in the brackets. Well, we only need to fix what's in the brackets. So Kavada, that's our main character. She care about the creatures. So this is subject-verb agreement. Where we need to figure out if our subject and our verb match up. So our subject is Kavada. She is one person, so she is singular. And because she's not myself, the speaker, or you, the listener, that means that it's third person. So she is a third person singular, which means that she needs to get an S at the end of her verb. So it should be cares. Okay, what is this an example of? The frost made Kavada shiver. So Kavada is her name, so that means it is a proper noun. Verb would be made, that's our verb. A pronoun would be like a word to replace it, so she. An adjective would be if it was describing her, so maybe the frost made young Kavada shiver or whatever. Anyway, this is a proper noun because it's her name. What's the correct way to make plant plural? So plant is just a normal, no exception word, which means that we just add S. So it's plants because it does not end with CH, X, SH, or S. If it ended with one of those, we would need to add ES. Which word is a verb in the following sentence? The creature almost stepped on the girl. So a verb is an action. So we need to see which one of these words is an action. So the correct answer is stepped because it's the only one that you can actually do because it's just like walking, right? You can step on like a box. What is this an example of? Creatures. Okay, so in order for us to figure out what this is an example of, we need to figure out what each of these different things are. So an article is a word that tells info about the noun. A verb is action. An adverb describes a verb, and then a plural noun is more than one person, place, thing, or idea. Okay, so what is creatures? It is a boop, 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 plural noun, right? There's more than one thing here. Okay, fix the sentence. The dog runned towards the cliff. So once again, we only need to look at the thing in the bracket. The dog, so we know there's only one dog, and it runned. Runned doesn't sound right to me. That's because this is an irregular past tense. You can't just add ed. So what is the correct way to make this a past tense? Ran. The dog ran towards the cliff. Some of you put the dog runs towards the cliff, which is also correct because it's third person singular. There's only one dog, and it's not me, it's not you, so it's runs. But I wanted to keep this in the past tense because it was a past tense question. Okay, so kind of going off of this exactly, which grammatical person gets an S? Run, runs. So I can think like I run, he runs, right? So which one is he? Going all the way back up, boop, boop, right here. 1, 2, 3, third person, singular, right? I would be the one speaking. You would be the person being spoken to, the listener. 3, third person would be somebody unrelated to the speaker or the listener. Third person singular. What are the 3 articles in English? So the articles are words that give more info about the noun, usually just if there's only one and if we know the noun. So this would be a, an, and the. Which word is a contraction of they plus are? So remember, to make a contraction, you just take the first word and write it exactly the same. So they, and then you take the second word and you get rid of the vowel that's in the middle. So we're going to get rid of this A. So they, and because we're getting rid of a letter, we're going to put an apostrophe to show that we're getting rid of the letter, and then put there. Which word is an adjective? The girl used the magical staff. So adjective is a word, a word that describes a noun. So a noun is a person, place, thing, or idea. So our nouns here are the girl and staff. So we're looking for a word that describes either one of these. Magical. It is describing the staff. It's not just a piece of wood. It has magic. What is the mistake? Her dog almost died. So do we need to make this plural? Her dogs almost died. Do we need to make it present tense? Her dog almost dies. Do we need to capitalize her? Or do we need to put almost offset by commas? So her dog almost died. Do we need to do that? So in this case, these two could work. Those are changes that you could make, but they're not mistakes, right? The sentence is still correct either way. This one, her to hers, or sorry, her to her with a capital is the mistake because every sentence needs to start with a capital letter. What is the mistake? She almost got squished, so it was a close call. She to she, squished with a comma, no comma, move the comma to the other side of so, or put a period at the end. Okay, so if you're taking the STAR test or just any test and you aren't sure, just look at the things that you do know. I don't know what to do with commas. I don't know what to do with commas. I know that each sentence needs to start with a capital letter, so I know that this is not the right answer. And I also know that every sentence needs to end with a period, so I know that this is the right answer. Now, if, for example, this did end with a period and you weren't sure, you get rid of that, and now you only have two choices. So you have a 50-50 shot of getting it right. But anyway, the correct answer is this one because we need to have a period at the end. What is the mistake? They leaves the valley. Leaves, add a comma. Leaves, get rid of that S. Capitalize valley, or change they to I. Okay, so I know that they is third person plural, and I know that leaves with an S is used for third person singular. So I can either change they to third person singular or leaves to third person plural. So they to I, that would be first person singular, so that's not going to work. So I need to change leaves to leave by getting rid of that S. I'm changing it to third person plural. They leave the valley. Fix the sentence. The video takes place in a valley. Maybe it's in Europe. Okay, so I need to look here at the word Europe. I see that I have a period at the end, so I don't need to change that. I also know that Europe is a specific place. Which means that it's a name, so it needs to be capitalized. Okay, so Europe. Fill in the blank so the subject-verb agreement is correct. Blank watches the ice melt. Okay, so I see that this ends with an S, which means I need to look for third person singular. This is first person plural, so it's not that. The girl and the dog, that's plural, so it's not that. She, that is third person singular, so this is my correct answer. They is third person plural, so it's not that. Okay, so it should be she. Fill in the blank with the correct article. See that staff? It's blank one from the video. Okay, so because we know, oh, look at this, I forgot a period, so there's an error. Because we know what staff we're talking about, we're already talking about it here, we need to use the article that shows that it's specific. So that is this one, the. Shows that we already know that we're talking about this one. What two words make up shield? Okay, so when you're breaking apart a contraction, you need to think about the apostrophe, which replaces the letters that were taken out. And we know that the first word is going to stay the same. So we have she plus something LL. So right off the bat, this is wrong. Yeah. Okay, next, we need to have the LL, right? So it's not going to be this one. So now we need to decide if it's she-hill or she-will. Well, she-hill doesn't really make much sense, so that's not going to be the right answer. So the correct answer is she-will. Which of these is third person singular? Okay, we've talked about this a bunch, so let's see if you can get it right. She. What's the correct way to contract they are? Okay, so we talked about that up here somewhere. Yeah, we talked about it here. So the same thing, you're going to rewrite the first word, they, and then apostrophe RE. Which article shows that something is specific? Okay, so just like up here, we knew that the staff was something we already talked about, so we needed a specific one, so we picked the. So down here, we're going to say that the answer is the. Which two words make up your? Okay, so just like before, we're going to rewrite the first word because that's going to be the same. You plus, now I know that there's going to be some missing letters here because there's an apostrophe and then RE. So I know it's not this one because that's just the word you. It's not this one because this one has a contraction in it. And then your R isn't right either because we don't have an R there. So that means that it is you are. Fill in the blank with the correct article. Blank creature chased the dog. Okay, so non isn't an article. That just tells us that something doesn't, or it's basically a negative that you would add before a word. All creature chase a dog. All would mean more than one because there's no S on creature. That can't be it. So now we need to decide if it's a or an. So creature sounds like it starts with a consonant, right? It has this K sound, creature. So that means that it is a. What would you use and before? Okay, so kind of like what I was just talking about right here. And comes before a vowel sound, right? So A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y, also sometimes W. Remember, it's a vowel, which are these, vowel sound. Okay, so it's not always going to look like a vowel, but it will sound like a vowel.